I'm gonna let you know I'm not ready to fall. And my back's against the wall. I wanna come out and fight. I'm gonna come out and fight. I'm gonna let you know I'm not ready to fall. And my back's against the wall. I wanna come out and fight. I'm gonna come out and fight. When the final
Hello everyone and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway for the AKG Cup Series Season number 5. We are here for qualifying. This to determine the front row for this season's Daytona 500. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. The first time that we have been on track since April of 2018 here on this channel. It's good to be back and we are ready to get going. I'll explain how this works in a minute, but start off with our first car out here. Number 12, Billy Natavio, Smart Motorsports, Rockstar Energy, Ford Mustang. So he's the first car out. He's a rookie driver, making one of 25 rookies in this 46 car field this season, and one of the many guys that has never made a Cup Series start prior to now. So how this works, we have 46 guys, as mentioned, in this field. 11 of them are looking to race their way in. Billy Natavio is one of these guys. And the order is determined by owner standings last season as Natavio starts his flying lap. So Natavio, driving a car that did not race last year, car number 12. Smart Motorsports expanding to 3 cars this year. So because of that, he's the first car out. Down the back for the first time. Top 35 from last year's, top 35 in owner points last year make it in, or locked into the show. And you'll see on the ticker, which will come up in a minute, once Natavio finishes his flying lap, you will see the names in silver. Those are the ones having to race their way in, and the ones in white are the ones locked in. Natavio completes his flying lap, a 41.887. So he goes to the top of the board. For Smart Motorsports, you see this name in silver there. Is one showing that he's a driver that has to race his way into the 500. Diego Yepez for Gerrard Motorsports has to race his way in. He's in the 47. This car is the other car that did not race in season 4 of the AKG Cup Series, formerly Audi Cup Series, and that's why Yepez has to race his way in. Yepez is coming off a season-long suspension, which is now over 2-year suspension. But he's back in the series, looking to race his way into the 500. His only race in the series was the dual race before he got suspended. And that was a 3rd place finish in dual 1. So, showed a bit of promise in that dual race, actually. And it'll be interesting to see how he goes in this one. He will start his flying lap. Time to beat at the moment, 41.887, set by Billy Natavio. The thing to note as well here about this session is that it only determines the front row for the 500, and it also determines the Kroger duels, the starting lineup for the 2 Kroger duels. The odd numbers will start in duel 1, and the even numbers will be in duel 2, unless we have a relatively uneven number of guys having to race their way in, because we do have 11 in each duel. So say 7 guys in duel 2 versus 4 guys in duel 1, and then we'll make some changes. Yepez comes in 41.906. So he slots into 2nd position behind Natavio. So a little bit off the pace, but we'll see how this one goes for Yepez in terms of where he's going to play out in this one. Next car out, we're waiting for him. Austin Johnson, car number 66 for Snap Fitness and Tanker Motorsports, formerly Unstoppable Motorsports, Gerrard Motorsports before, we didn't actually mention, but they are formerly William Brock Motorsports. And Johnson has to race his way in. Snap Fitness returning to this team as well. In terms of their history, the team Unstoppable Motorsports started on the pole last year with Caleb Campbell, he's not in the series anymore, which is a shame, but looking to repeat that success this year, sticking with the Mustangs. New number this year, 66. Actually, they made the race with all 4 cars last year on Unstoppable Motorsports. They had, well, Yepez was one of those drivers. He drove the 51 before he got replaced by William Johnston, who drove the 52 in. He was replaced by Jonathan Rains. Neither of those guys in this series anymore. You'll notice there on the ticker as well on the left side, just underneath Yepez's name, you might see there's a blue line. You'll probably be able to see it better once Johnson clocks in his lap. And that just shows who is currently in the positions to start on the front row for the 500. It's that simple. And Austin Johnson going through 3 and 4 here in the 66 entry. Did grid qualifying here last year, which is so this is a bit different. It'll be a much longer video, much longer session as Johnson comes down. A 42.066 drops him into 3rd, and you can see that blue line there underneath Yepez's name. So 42.066 for Johnson. So his fate will be determined in the dual races that we will see tomorrow. Next car out, number 88, Renen Isip for Velocity Racing. He has to race his lane as well, of course. This car missed the show last year with Carter Friesen, but started at the team. Team Handley started on the outside front row. So with the 08 of Tanya Breyer, who's also not in the series anymore. So Friesen's in the series. We'll see him later on. Yeah, you see Isip, another one of these rookies. We mentioned Yepez and how he was scheduled to race in season 4. He got suspended. The other 2 guys, Natavio and Johnson, hoping to make their first starts at Daytona. It's their first Cup Series attempt. And here comes Isip down to start his flying lap. Time to be at the moment, still Billy Natavio, 41.887. Going through 1 and 2 for the first time ever, because we were going to do pre-season Thunder. We didn't end up doing that, but here we are for pole qualifying. So this is really this is the first time that these guys have actually driven the cars for the season, and for a lot of these guys it has been a while since they've driven in this series. In fact, all these guys, it's been a while since they've driven in the series. All the guys that have raced before. Renen Isip here in the 88. Where does he slot in? 4th. 42.125. So he slots into the 4th position. Disappointed with that, I think. 42.125. A bit off Billy Natavio's fastest lap. Well, yeah, fastest lap, 41.887. Still on top of the board. Here's the first car that has actually made a Cup Series start. Yepez obviously attempted last year, but didn't end up making it. Richard Fridge. Good to see him back in the series. He is the owner of South Florida Motorsports and the driver for the first time this year. We're having owner drivers, some of them, full-time. Richard Fridge is one of those guys. He's in the Kroger colours, number 26. And Fridge has made, he's by far and away the most experienced rookie in the field. There were questions as to whether or not he'd actually be a Rookie of the Year challenger this year. He has been classified as one. 13 career starts, best finish of 4th at Bristol in season 3. He was driving 25, and that team, South Florida Motorsports, I had a bit of a disappointing year last year. Season 4, they had all cars miss the chase. The year prior, of course, Garrett Sinor in season 3, he actually took them to their first ever win and took them to the final race. Actually got them to Homestead, where they were competing for a championship. So looking to do that once again. In terms of the chase grid, 16 cars as in previous years, and just like last year, based on points. But we'll get to that when we do later on in the season. Here's Fridge. Where does he slot in? He goes to the top, a 41.872. What's that? 0.015 ahead of Billy Natavio. So nice job there by Fridge. He raced in season 3 in the 500, finished 9th. I think. No, I think it was 9th actually, but he did race in season. No, I need to look that up actually. But he did race in season 3, 500. So There you go. Nathan Stapleton, another one of these owner drivers. We talked about Fridge before. Here's Stapleton, who is another one of these guys that has to race their way in and is an owner driver. Stapleton, 39 career starts, best finish of 4th. Coca-Cola 600, sorry. Charlotte, season 3. 3 starts last year. So it's been a little bit since he's been in the series full time, obviously, but good to see him back out there. And he will start his flying lap. Time at the beat at the moment is 41.872. And it must be said, we must talk about the team itself. NS Racing, they've been around since season 2. They've won 2 races. Aiden Shepard, Michigan season 2, and Jordan Watt at Auto Club in season 2. Benny Watson's also won an all-star race, and he is in the field, which is good to see, and we'll get to him later on. But they have not won since season 2. They've won a couple of showdowns, both in season 3 and 4, but they haven't won a points-paying race since that Auto Club race. So, been close a couple times, but haven't quite got there. Stapleton coming down the line, drops in a third, 41.892 for Stapleton. So he's in third position. He will not lock himself in, so he'll have to race his way in via the dual races on Wednesday. Good to see AccuDoc Solutions on that car as well. Sponsor Isaac Nicholls back in season 1. Good to see them back in the field, and good to see Lynn Sheets Motorsports back in the field. This is Trey Wright, rookie driver. Stapleton, by the way, was the first veteran in the field, the first non-rookie of the year competitor. So one of 2 that has to race his way in. The rest of these guys that have to race their way in are rookies. But here's Trey Wright, Lynn Sheets Motorsports, formerly known as GL Racing. This is their 3rd season in the series. Never won. One of the very few teams in the series that has never won a points-paying race in the series. Lynn Sheets Motorsports, looking to change that this year. We haven't actually mentioned it yet, but the Chevy teams and the Toyota teams have updated their... all these cars have obviously been updated to the new mod. But Ford did run the Mustang back in seasons 2 to 4. And Dodge ran the Challenger in previous years. Season 4, sorry. So, not too much change there, but this is the new Camaro for, well, it's not really new, is it now, but for Lynn Sheets Motorsports. We saw it a couple times already with Asif and Yepez. And the new Camry, which we saw with Fridge early on. So, a bit of an update for them. I must say, the mod is so much better than the other mod, the Bullring mod, as Wright drops in to 4th, 41.904. AC Delco colours, and he's in 4th, so he'll have to race his way in via the duels as well. So it's just a matter of, what duel is he in? Here's the other veteran. We talked about Stapleton being one of 2 veterans that has to race his way in. This is Gerrard Oran, who has to race his way in. Did not make it last year. In fact, did not make it in seasons 3 or 4. But made it back in season 2. Finished, I think, 37th from memory. So he hasn't had, didn't have great success back in season 2. But here's an interesting one. Gerrard Oran, owner driver last year. He now driving for, is driving for the same team he drove last year, but he's no longer the owner. He owned this team, RFW Racing, through seasons 3 and 4. They're now being taken over by Bradley Reen. We've now been changed to Railfan Motorsports. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we've got guys like Fridge and Stapleton. I don't know how much the ownership side of things will impact their driving. But I think Gerrard Oran, it'll be interesting to see if he can do a little bit better from last year. I mean, to be fair to Gerrard Oran, he did win. He's the first driver in the field, in this field, to have actually won a Cup Series race. He's won 2 of them, as a matter of fact. Drove the Carl Edwards Aflac Tribute in season 2 at Darlington to a victory. That got him into the chase that year, and finished won at Dover last year. And what was a pretty weird race. You see him he drops into 6th, 41.918. But Oran, he'll have to obviously have his fate determined by the duels as well. So, but Oran won at Dover last year. That was a pretty crazy race, and he had Chase Marks, who crashed into the inside wall early on. He finished second in that one, and he was well off the pace. So it's a strategy race to that one. Here is a completely revamped team from last year. This is Derek Hamill, 2 career starts in the series, 30th and 36th respectively. He drove for NS Racing's 97, along with Stapleton and Carson Mitchell last year. But he's back in the series, and he's looking to race his way into the Daytona 500. This is Buck Racing, formerly CBF Motorsports. And CBF had a really rough year. They were probably the slowest team in the field. Not too much expectation for these guys, I think, fair to say, heading into this season. New sponsorship, new numbers, new manufacturer. Drove Fords last year, now driving the Dodge. I think this is the first time we've seen a Dodge actually out on track. Yeah, it is. So we'll see what time Derek Hamill can put in here. Not much, as mentioned before, not much expectation heading into this season. We'll see how they go. Another one of those teams that has never won in the series. This is owned by Chase Buck, by the way, who is another one of these guys that's completely new to the series. And 3 and 4. One of the things that you'll notice here in this session is that these guys are actually running the middle line. They're not running up top. They're not running down the bottom. Even in the tri-oval, they're not running on the bottom. The tri-oval, as Hamill goes to the top with a 41.845, displaces Richard Fridge. 26. So nice work by Hamill to get himself up to the top after 9 cars. So nice work by the driver of the 19 there. Nice job. Moving on to our next driver. This is the second Railfan Motorsports entry. Logan Williams has to race his way in as well. Now we're starting to get to the cars that, because the first 8 cars, I mean, Yepez and Natavio didn't actually run, so the 6 cars after Yepez and Natavio were all part-time last year. They weren't racing for a full-time spot. So now we're starting to get to some of these full-time guys. Hamill replaced Christian Parker, now Christian Vargas, in the 95. Was the 95 at the time, now the 19. And Logan Williams is now driving the 7 that Aiden Shepard drove last year. And Shepard second last in full-time points, and this team looking for a bit of an improvement this year, I think fair to say. Did get a win though. They did get a win with Gerrard Oran last year. I mentioned that earlier on. At Dover was a wacky race. They finished second, interestingly enough, with Daniel Server, who drove for the team last year. But he actually, as a part-time driver, he finished second in the Coke 0400 back in Season 3. So it's an interesting one for RFW races. Toyotas have always seemed to be the best here at Daytona. They've got, well, certainly in the stricter plate tracks in the past, or certainly in recent years anyway, it always seemed like they've been able to get themselves up front at the right time. Not so much last year, though. Where this year? We're in Season 3 in particular. Williams goes to the top, 41.833, so he knocks Hamill off the top of the board. So nice work by Williams, and first real comparison we get to see between teammates, and 0.085 of a second between Williams and Oran. So that's first through 8, so it's pretty close so far throughout the field. And this is the final guy that has to race his way in, Arthur Xavier for Fitzwater Australia Racing. This car, driven by Colin Denton last year to 36th in points, got their best finish here of the season. Finished 8th in the 500. There were only 16 guys, of course, that finished the 500 last year. But Denton's moved on and to another team. We'll see him later on in this session. And Xavier now at the team driving the Verifone, number 59. So let's see what he can do. Dodge has always been one of those manufacturers that has always struggled in this series. They're looking to kind of break through this year and become a race-winning manufacturer more often. I don't even remember. Have they even made the chase? It's been so long since I've really focused on the series that I don't really know if I don't know a lot of this stuff, but off the top of my head. But here's Xavier down the back straight away in the 59. Verifone coming on board. They were sponsoring South Florida Motorsports last year and Reagan Whitlock, but now he's moved on to probably bigger and better things. And Verifone moved on to the Fitzroy Australia Racing 59. Coming down to complete his flying lap. Where does the 59 come into it? Drops into 9th. 41.988 for Arthur Xavier. So, a bit disappointing there. He's 9th quickest out of 11 at this point in time. So, a bit disappointing. So Logan Williams is going to be the highest Go Homos. Here is Lorenz Maga, car number 08, Velocity Racing, teammate to Renen Isip. As mentioned before, this car started on the outside pole last year for the 500 with Tanya Breyer. So we'll see how they go. Yeah, we'll see how Lorenz Maga goes here for Velocity. Matt Tuck is the owner of this team, and his history in the series is a bit interesting. He raced 12 races back in season 1, driving for Richard Petty Motorsports, and now, in season 3 he drove for Cooper Motorsports in the 23 machine, and didn't race in seasons 2 or 4, and now he's a team owner. So driving owning the 08 and the 88. The 88 at the moment is slowest, so we'll be disappointed with that at the moment, I think, fair to say. And you'll see on the ticker here, once Maga completes his lap, you'll see that the name it will be in white because Maga is locked into the 500. So let's see how this one goes. Lorenz Maga in the 08. Did get a top 10 last year with Tanya Breyer. Actually got 2, I think, from memory. Where does Maga come into all this? Goes to the top, 41.827, knocks Logan Williams off the board. So that's a good time for Maga compared to what happened to a SIP in the 88, 42.125 versus 41.827. So a bit of a difference there. Not sure what's up with that, but looks like they might have to tune up that 88 a little bit more. Brandon Nelson, second of the Smart Motorsport cars, another one of the rookie drivers. There are only 2 veterans in this, 2 veterans, Stapleton and Oran. And then you have Fridge, who's made 13 races. Derek Hamill's made 2, and that's all and the rest of them have never made a start in the series. So, bit of a turnover compared to last season. And Nelson here for Smart Motorsports. This car finished second in last year's Daytona 500 driven by Gerrard Oran Alonso, who of course is now the team owner for Gerrard Motorsports. We saw Yepez out early on, and this is the teammate to Billy Natavio, who's currently 5th at the moment. So, but they're usually pretty good here, Smart Motorsports. They're usually a quick team in this series. Picked up Nelson and Natavio in the off season. It's a disappointing year for Smart Motorsports. They had James Kinghart run full time, and he was he really struggled. He got a best finish of 3rd at Bristol, but other than that, really struggled. But, looking to have a better year this year. Here it comes down the line, complete his flying lap. Brandon Nelson drops into 4th, so 41.851 slots in between Hamill and Fridge. So, I think it'll be disappointing. He's ahead of Natavio, but I think Cody Smart, the team owner, who we'll see in a minute, will be disappointed with that. Here's Jack Hallec, the second of the Buck Racing entries. We saw Derek Hamill out before in the 19. This is his teammate. Again, as mentioned before, not much expectation for these guys. Hallec, another one of these guys that has never made a start in the series. So he's locked into the 500, so he'll be making his debut next Friday. 8 p.m. Eastern here on this channel. Thinking of rebranding the channel. I've been trying to, but don't know why Google is annoying, so it doesn't allow me to do that. So that's brilliant. Here's the 16. Jack Hallec starts his flying lap. Time to beat 41.827. Again on the front row, 41.833 is the time to beat. Of course, still plenty of cars to go. We've only 13 down. This is the 14th car out, so still have 32 to go after this one. down the back straight away. CarQuest colours for the majority of the season for this 16 team. We'll see what he can do. Through 3 and 4, and again, as mentioned before, you see he's running that middle line, that middle groove. It's what seems to be the quickest at the moment in these qualifying runs. As here he comes down to the line, and he goes to the top. So he knocks Maga off pole with a 41.8 flat. So good time there by Hallec. Drops him on top. He's quite a bit ahead actually of Maga. That's quite a big difference so far. So nice job by Jack Hallec in the 16 entry. And here is, well, he's an interesting driver. Cody Smart, Smart Motorsports, his own team. He's the third of 3 owner drivers in the field. He has a bit of history, so we haven't really been able to talk on these drivers' histories so far, but Cody Smart has a bit of history. Last race in Season 3, I don't remember what, I think it was the season finale if I remember correctly at Homestead. 2 previous 500 starts, Seasons 1 and 3. Last in Season 3, 29th in Season 1. And if you go back to Season 1, Season 3 he didn't race for points, so it didn't really matter. But Season 1 he finished 2nd in the championship. So he's not a pushover, Cody Smart. He's a pretty good driver. 2 wins in the series, both of them in Season 1. It was Texas. He won that race from the pole. And then he backed it up with a win at Michigan. So, certainly not a pushover, Cody Smart. And down the back. We saw his 2 cars before, Brandon Nelson and Billy Natavio. Currently 5th and 7th on timing. This will be an interesting lap. I'll be interested to see where he kind of pulls in here. Will he be around Nelson and Natavio, or will he be a bit further ahead of them is the question. Coming down to the line. And he goes to the top, 41.798, 0.002 ahead of Hallec. So not as quick as I thought Smart would go, but he's on top of the board at this point in time. So nice work through 15 cars. So good job by him. Here's Nonagon Scott, Railfan Motorsports. He's the 3rd entry, the only one that's locked into the show. As Logan Williams and Gerrard Oran have to race their way in. And Scott is another one of these guys who will be making their Cup Series debut on Friday. And good to see JBL back. And good to see Harman as a whole expanding. AKG is sister brand to JBL, and they've expanded a bit into the series. They've become the naming rights sponsor, which is it's good to see. And Scott here to start his flying lap. Number 78, driven by Daniel Server last year, and then Aiden Shepherd the year prior for RFW Racing. Finish was the highest of the RFW cars in points. Didn't get too many great results, but it got a top 5. I think it was Armory Digital, I think from memory. Daniel Server, so and had a decent back end of the year. So compared to the 7 at least, had a tough first few races. So interesting to see. Will the Railfan build off that and develop into something a little bit more than what they've previously shown? See, they come down the line. Nonagon Scott. Where does he drop in? He drops into 7th place, 41.866, behind Brandon Nelson. So he's currently the slowest of the 5 guys locked in to the 500. I think he'll be slightly disappointed about that. He's in between, slower than Williams and quicker than Gerrard Oran. Here we go, Kelly Lee. She is back after a season sabbatical, raced in seasons 2 and 3, 1 career win, Richmond, back in season 2. Made the chase back in season 3, finished 16th in points. But the interesting thing is there's a bit to talk about here. I will talk about Premier Racing Motorsports as a whole later on. But this car with Jay Jefferson last year won this race. Actually started, or not this race, but won the Coke 0400s. We take it on board with her. I'll let you listen in. glorious sound from onboard. So Lee will be running the visor cam throughout speed weeks, and she slots into 4th place. So drops in behind Maga, 0.001 behind the 08. So very close there. As mentioned before, Jefferson in this 76 qualified on the pole for the Coke Zero 400 and won the race. Here is a former Premier Racing Motorsport driver, and really, I mean, you got Smart and Lee, but you got to. This is the first real big guy to talk about. Jek Porkins, peak Blue Death colours for a lot of the season. We're running the familiar Nikon yellow as well at times this year. And this is, well, this 71 car, won the Daytona 500 back in Season 3 with the owner, Tyson Gifford, who is the only driver to have won the Daytona 500 twice, back in Seasons 1 and 3. Did as an owner driver, Tyson Gifford, so back in Season 3. Porkins starts his flying lap. Porkins finished 3rd here in the 500 last year, helped push Brandon Bent to the win. After starting 42nd, he crashed out in the dual race that he was in and finished last in that dual race and had to start from the rear of the field. So made his way up to 42nd. So really, it's a good indication that it doesn't really matter where you start in the 500. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting lucky a lot of the time and getting through the crashes, which I'm sure we will see in the 500. As here comes Porkins down the line. He's looking. What kind of time can he put in? Can he jump Cody Smart? Here's the question. He does, and he does big time. 41.548 miles ahead of Cody Smart. That's a quarter of a second. That is a huge gap. Wow. That is a statement. That is a statement. That's all that is. That is a great time from Jek Porkins. He puts himself on top of the board. That is a statement lap by that 71. Christian Vargas is next up in the 43. Second Fitzwater Australia racing car. I cannot believe that. That is a great lap from Porkins. That car has come out very strong. Mentioned before, Gifford Trinity, they're very good. They've had a history of winning races on restrictor plate tracks. And it looks like they're going to keep that up this season. My goodness, that is a great lap. 41.548. That's miles ahead of the next guy in the field, Cody Smart. So putting the rest of the field to shame at the moment, as here is Christian Vargas. We'll talk about him here right now because he's the guy out on track. As mentioned before, he was Christian Parker last year, now Vargas. Finished last in points, got a best finish of 9th at Richmond last year. Finished 29th in this race a year ago. And looking for what, I'm going to be honest, I think he's going to be on for a better year. I think Fitzwater Australia Racing. This car, the 43, actually won at Vegas last year with Kenny Washington, who's not in the series. So I think Vargas will do a bit better this year. And let's see what kind of time he can put in here in the 43. Let's see, does he rival Porkins is the question. Let's see, 43, where does he slot in? 16th. So, well, I think that's just an indication of how good that 71 looks. 41.548 and Vargas a 41.960, by far and away the slowest guy locked into the show right now in the 43 entry. So, a bit of work to be done there. He's actually pretty close to his teammate Arthur Xavier as well. Here's Chris Maley. I was surprised to see him back in the series, number 35. Team shut down last year. Actually merged with Premier Racing Motorsports. We'll talk more about them later on. But Maley here in the 35, driving a car that has had some success in speed weeks, or at least in the non-points paying races. Eli Bright drove this car to a win in Dual 1 last year. And the year before that, Bright won the Audi Shootout, which is not being run this year. So we'll see what kind of time here Chris Maley can put down. Siemens colours. Good to see Siemens back in the series as well for a 4th consecutive season. Maley actually raced, I think, back in this race, back in season 3. Best career finish of 9th back at Charlotte in season 3 as well. 4 career starts. Out of a potential, I think it was 36 from memory. I don't really remember, but He's locked into the 500, so it's good news for him. Let's see, what kind of time can he put down number 35? 16, so he jumps ahead of Vargas just, but drops in behind Oran. So a bit further off the pace than he would have hoped, I think. It's actually a bit far off Trey Wright, nearly half a tenth. So margins are so fine here at Daytona. It's a good show. Look at Porkins though, 2.5 tenths. That's ridiculous. Early on. Here's Charlie Davenport, Hairgel Motorsports, their second entry. This car won the shootout last year with Colin Dryberg. And Castrol coming back on board, and actually BP, the company that owns Castrol, expanding their horizons. They're so you saw them sponsoring the 47. Davenport coming down to start his flying lap. This team, very good in the past. Williambrook Motorsports, they've won 2 races, but I don't think that's an indication of how good they've actually been in this series. Certainly season 2 was their high point. They got to 5th in the championship with Elijah Gordon driving the number 1. And then he won a race last year at Watkins Glen from the pole. So, team's pretty quick. It's shown to be pretty quick in the past. So, at the moment, Yepez down in 14th though. Bit of work to be done there. Let's see Charlie Davenport, number 42, another one of these rookie drivers. We're getting through them pretty quickly here, which is good to see, as here he comes down to the line. Goes to 4th. Nice job. 41.802.02 off Jack Hallec. So, nice work by Davenport. He's about 10th ahead of Diego Yepez. So, 10th between 4th and 15th. That's all that separates 4th and 15th. Here's Noah Kim, the third Lynn Sheets Motorsports entry. We saw Trey Wright and Chris Maley before, and this is their third car. As mentioned before, Lynn Sheets has never won a points-paying event. Jonathan King drove this car back last season. He and Jonathan King, of course, former Daytona 500 champion, got a best finish of what was it, third at Kansas last year. So I don't know. Well, we didn't see enough consistency from the team to really be a chase contender. So see if they can up that a little bit this year. At the moment, 2 cars, Wright and Maley, 14th and 17th, as Kim starts his flying lap. One of the things here you got to note as well, this obviously, as mentioned, this does determine the dual starting lineup, as mentioned before. Odd finishing positions, 1st, 3rd, 5th, etc. Will race in dual 1, and 2nd, 4th, 6th, and so on. Will be in dual 2, unless then changes need to be made due to groups, because we don't have a perfect number of cars. Racing their way in as Noah Kim drops a 41.936, drops to 17th. So a great amount of speed shown from Lynn Sheets in their 3 outings. Trey Wright actually the quickest guy there, so nice job by him, but I think they'll be slightly disappointed with that. Carter Friesen, South Florida Motorsports, number 46, United Rentals entry. Missed the show in this race a year ago. He's only made six career starts. Finished 13th at Texas last year. Carter Friesen, but let's see what he can do here in the 46 entry. But back to the group qualifying. We don't have a perfect amount of cars locked in. So, we don't have a perfect amount of cars locked in or racing their way in. So, 11. Obviously, you can't divide that nicely. So, it'll be 6 of the 11 guys will be in one duel, and 5 will be in the other. So, we'll wait and see here at the moment. But it's good to see. Logan Williams has done a good job to be 7th at the moment. He's currently the quickest go-homer. The 46 here, teammates of Richard Fridge. We saw Fridge early on. He's in 11th at the moment, 41.872. So let's see where the 46 can kind of plop himself in here. This is the car that Garrett Sinor, not this one specifically, obviously, because it was a Chevy back in the day, but Garrett Sinor took this car to 5th in the championship back in season 3. So Friesen drops into 2nd. So nice work, 41.748, half a tenth ahead of Cody Smart, and about 2 tenths off of Porkins. So again, that's just an emphasis of how good the lap is from Porkins to be 2 tenths up at this stage in the session when everyone else is pretty close. Here's the 3rd South Florida Motorsports car, Noah Clifton, Kroger entry. He's locked in. Clifton, 5 career starts, did, like Carter Friesen, interestingly enough, did not qualify for the 500, but he has not been on the channel since season 1, when he was one of the part-time drivers, one of the 5, it was at the end of the season, part-time drivers. His best finish, 4th at Bristol back in season 1. That was his 2nd career start. He's only made 5 of them, but he'll be making his 6th. Ironically, in the 500 on Friday. So, Kroger colours for him this year. Running through 1 and 2. So, Friesen's just put down a good lap, 41.748. So, we'll see if Clifton can kind of replicate that. He heads off into turns 3 and 4. Let's see what kind of time he can put down. Now Clifton as well, another interesting thing. Prior to the Audi Cup Series, I ran the Worth Cup Series. He was the champion in that series, driving the Cessna number 1, and Clifton drops to 13th. So he's a bit off, actually he's a fair way off of Friesen's time. So a good time by Friesen compared to where Fridge and Clifton are, currently 12th and 13th. So nice work by Friesen. Disappointing, a bit of work to be done for those 2 South Florida Motorsport cars. But Clifton, Worth Cup Series champion back in the day prior to the Audi Cup Series, so he's not a scrub either. Here's David Johnson, not related to Austin Johnson, I think. Could be wrong about that. I only mention that because they're both driving for Tanker Motorsports. And this is the car that won the pole in last year's 500. So, the car on the outside pole from last year, Lorenz Maga currently 6th. So, let's see what the 5 can do here, David Johnson. And he will come down to the line to start his flying lap. PPG back on board. This car won with Dan Park at Talladega back in season 2. That was a long time ago. But hasn't had a huge amount of success since then. They were, 22nd, I think, in points from memory last year with Caleb Campbell, who made the step up from part-time or uncharted, it was called at the time, to full-time racing. And Campbell, he had a couple top 10s, but didn't really set the whole world on fire. Here is David Johnson. Where does he fit in all of this? 24th, 42.103. So he's actually 2nd slowest at the moment. So that is quite a far cry compared to what happened last year for that team. So looks like there'll have to be some work done overnight, because those 2 cars, 66 and 5, currently 23rd and 24th. And here's their 3rd entry, Nathan Ormond. Another one of these rookie drivers. And he'll certainly be looking for a bit of improvement. And Tanker Motorsports, or the team went through many name changes, eventually ended up as Unstoppable Motorsports, finished 2nd and 3rd back in the season 3 Daytona 500 behind Tyson Gifford, with Kelly Lee at the time, actually, who finished 3rd the year prior. So, and Chase Marks, who was ran 2 seasons for Unstoppable before switching over to South Florida Motorsports last year. Chase Marks, interestingly enough, actually led the most laps in the 500 last year. I thought that was Brandon Bent. It was actually Chase Marks. So there you go. The more you know. Here's Ormond, number 56. What kind of time can he put down? Polaris entry. Polaris back on board for another season. Placing Noah Chronister at the team. Chronister drove last year in that what is now the 56, was the 31 last year. So let's see here. I think there's a bit more pace in this 56 than we saw in the 5 and the 66. So let's see. Where does he pop in? He pops into 11th. So nice job. 41.855. So that's a fair bit quicker actually than his teammates who are currently in the 42s. So nice work by Ormond to get himself into 11th position ahead of Scott. So a bit of work I think for all those guys in the 500, but we'll get those cars up to speed. Here's Benny Watson. Lots to talk about with Benny Watson. We mentioned him earlier. He's in the NS Racing car. He actually made the chase for the first time last year. But he is one of those guys that has been around forever. He has been around, I think he was around in the Worth Cup. I'm certain he was around in the Worth Cup Series days. I don't really remember too much of how well he did. But he's never won a points-paying race. He has by far and away the longest losing streak in the series. 103 races at the moment. So, you know, the field, we'll see. I mean, he's the 4th most experienced guy in the field. He's never won a race. So he did win the All-Star race back in Season 2, but has really not done, has never won a points-paying race. So looking to break that this year, and I think NS Racing, you know, they made a step forward, as mentioned. Watson made the chase for the first time last year. NS Racing, despite not winning a race like they did in Seasons 2 or 4, in Season 2, they did win a race in Season 2. They didn't in Season 4, but actually made the chase for the first time, which is an improvement. I think as a whole, the team looked a lot quicker. As goes to second, 41.707. So currently on the front row. So nice job by Watson to get himself onto that front row. But as mentioned before, made the chase last year, and the team as a whole seemed a lot quicker with Fords than they were with Chevys. So, or a lot more consistent anyways. John Andrews. He has an interesting history. He 4th in the 500 back in Season 1, raced all 26 races. Actually finished 3rd in the championship, if I remember correctly. 2 career wins, New Hampshire of Season 1, Season 3 at Auto Club, a season in which they really struggled. Well, he really struggled, Maley Motorsports. Only the 1 start last year in what was his own team, Andrews Racing, which is now defunct. And now he's driving for Tanker Motorsports in the Mission Mobile. And let's see what kind of time he can put in. 55. Porkins' time still looks incredible compared to everyone else. I mean, you got Watson in second, 41.707. You got Friesen, 41.748. And Smart, 41.798. That's 2.5 tenths from first to fourth. So it's ridiculous how good that lap was. Here is the 55 of Andrews running through the middle once again, like we're seeing with everyone else. Where does he come in here? 4th in the 500 in Season 1. And he clocks in a 42.153. That is the slowest. So there you go. So those Tanker Motorsport cars have not rolled off fast whatsoever. You got Ormond in 12th, but other than that, they are currently positioned 3 of the last 4 positions in the field. So they've got some work to be done between this session and the duels. Well, here's a guy we could talk about a fair bit, Dawson Miller. 3M machine, driving the 48 this year. They made a few team changes over the off-season in terms of the crew chiefs and the spotters and teams as a whole. 8 career wins for tied for 3rd all-time Dawson Miller. So he is certainly not a pushover. 3rd in the championship last year. 4 wins last year? So certainly a very good driver. And he was by far and away the best Nicotech driver last year. But as mentioned before, he's driving the car that Kian Raleigh drove last year. And the owner points are a bit down on that car. So that's why the 48 is coming out a bit earlier on. Let's see, does he come close to Porkins is the question. 41.548 is the time to beat. 41.707 is the time to beat to get on the front row. Of course, Miller would get the tiebreaker due to owner points last year. And let's see here. Off of 4, he's going to come down. And he goes to second. Still over a tenth off of Porkins. So that lap from Porkins is really standing out still. It's an incredible lap. 41.665 for Miller. So he does move into second. Currently at the moment on the front row for the 500. Zikomo Yassi for South Florida Motorsports. We talked about South Florida Motorsports. They have a team of all rookies this year. Zikomo Yassi is the only one that has never made a Cup Series attempt, even. Never attempted a race. He's the only one on that team. The rest of them have a combined 24 appearances in Cup competition. So, for an all-rookie team, they're relatively experienced. But Yassi's the only guy that has never made a start in the series. So, but that was an attempt in the series. But he will be in the 500, obviously. He's in the Jack Links entry, and this is the car that I talked about Chase Marks a moment ago. This is the car that he drove to the most laps led in last season's 500. So, actually in the 20 of Chase Marks actually barely missed the chase. It was only 5 points in the end, separating he and Simon Nicholls. So, we'll see here what kind of time he can put down the back. That Jack Links car, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It looks great on the track. And Yassi, what kind of time can he put down? Friesen put down a 41.748. The other two cars 15th and 16th at the moment. So where does Yassi fall into all this? He goes to second. 41.648. That is a good time. That is a very good time. Zikomo Yassi to second on the board, a 10th off of Porkins. But he knocks off Dawson Miller. So that's a very good lap. That is a very good lap from Zikomo Yassi in his first outing in a Cup car. So well done to him. Currently at the moment on the outside of the pole. Mitchell Collins, NS Racing. The only rookie driver on NS Racing. Because we got Ben Watson, we mentioned how long he's been in the series. He's been around for over 100 races. You got Eli Bright, who's actually next up. And Stapleton's hopefully going to be making his 40th start on Friday. He's got to obviously race his way in. Collins is the odd man out in that sense because he's the only rookie out of those lot, and I've just realised there's no rookie stripes on that car, so I'll have to edit that up. But let's see what he can do here in the 99, driven by Roger Ray in the last 2 seasons. So let's see here. Can he pull out a lap like Yassi did? That was a good lap from Yassi. He'd be pretty happy with that. Yeah, it's pretty hard to out-qualify Dawson Miller, so nice job by Yassi. But this is Collins' lap. Down the back into turns 3 and 4. Best Western returning to the team this year. Let's see, where does he fit into all of this? Off of 4. Mitchell Collins in the 99. Where does he fall into all of this? 14th. 41.853. So he's actually out-qualified Stapleton, but it's a bit far off of Watson's time. So 14th between Nelson and Ormond. So I think we'll be a little bit disappointed with that. And here is Eli Bright. We mentioned him before. We mentioned him a couple times actually, but it must be said. Well, we talked about the experience of Benny Watson and how long he's been in the series. Eli Bright is the only driver that comes anywhere near the longevity of winless streak. 90 races, I think, in his career. He finished second at Auto Club in Season 3, but other than that, he's not really come close to winning. Actually got a top 5 at Vegas last year, but other than that, it was a disappointing year. For Lynn Sheets, he drove for them for the last 2 years. Before that, he drove for Gifford Tredink. He actually got a pole. I think it was Charlotte back in Season 2. But other than that, but Dean Keane a couple times in that. Actually, a few times in that season. So But yeah, as mentioned before, Bright won the Audi Showdown in Season 3, won the Duel last year. He's looking to continue that form, but hasn't had a great run in the 500 the last 2 years. Finished 6th in Season 2. So we'll see what he can do here at the moment. Time to beat 41.548. I don't know if anyone's going to beat that time because that time has stood really well for Jek Porkins. Time to get on the front row, 41.648. Set by Yassi. Where does Eli Bright fall into all of this? In the re-entry, he goes to 5th. So he drops in behind his teammate Benny Watson and ahead of Friesen. So yeah, not bad. 5th place. Take that if you're Eli Bright, I'd say. Take 5th place and see where he pans out in all of this. Next car out, Julio Cesar. In the number 25. This was one of the big sleeper off-season moves, I think. Because Cesar had his best year in competition, actually. He was really close to John Sheets and Landon Hicks, who neither of them are in the series. But he was actually really close to them in points last year. He won the dual race here a year ago, well, 2 years ago. And prior to that, he won the Coke 0400 for Gifford Inc. So we don't really talk about seasons 1 and 2. They were pretty miserable seasons for him, but I think this is a big move. He moves to a good team in Nicotech from a good team at Gifford Inc. So a team that he won races last year. We'll take it on board here with him. He's also got the visor cam on this weekend. We'll let you listen in. Off of 4, where does Julio Cesar fit in here? Boost Mobile, Nicotech entry. And he goes to 4th. So he drops in behind his teammate Miller, but ahead of Watson. So 4th place. Not a bad first outing, I think. In a completely different car. He's actually driven Toyotas his entire career up to this season. So obviously had to go through a bit of a change, I think, fair to say. And he'll be happy with 4th at the moment. And see where he drops in compared to rest of the field. Here's Ryan Bejamin, number 36. We didn't really talk about Premier Racing Motorsports very much and what happened in the off-season, but if you do remember the series, you will know that Premier Racing Motorsports were a Ford team last year and is affiliated with DW Motorsports. That is no longer the case. They're now hoping to be the main Dodge team, and they've picked up, obviously, Kelly Lee in the off-season, and they've also picked up 3 rookies. Ryan Bejamin, the first of them. Premier Racing Motorsports, 4 wins in their history. Their first one was Pocono back in Season 3 with Dominic Anthony. They had Henry Guo win, Jek Porkins won last year, and Jane Jefferson won the Coke 0400 here last year. And with Premier Racing Motorsports as well, the reason why they're Dodge is because they had a planned merge with Maley Motorsports. MC Motorsports, that has fallen apart. Fell through in the off-season. Maley now a driver for Lynn Sheets, and Premier Racing Motorsports now standalone entity driving Dodgers. So, and that's why. And the 36 and 53 are the remnants, little tributes to Maley Motorsports. 40 and 76 were 2 of the numbers that Premier Racing Motorsports ran last year. As here comes Bejamin, he goes to 5th. So he slots in behind Cesar and ahead of Watson. So not a bad time at all. 41.692. Still a fair way off of Porkins' time, considering how close everyone else is. But you take that if you're Ryan Bejamin. That's a pretty good time in that for the Prevost number 36. Kian Raleigh, Nicotech number 10. iRacing back aboard this car. Kian Raleigh, 4 career wins, but really hasn't done a whole lot other than that, to be completely honest. Was the first 2-time winner in Season 2, which at the time was a big deal, because we went the first 13 races in that series with a different winner each race, and then Raleigh came out at Pocono next week and won it. 2 wins last year as well. Did not race in Season 3, took over ownership of Nicotech as Isaac Nicholls, who is the team owner nowadays, went back to the driver's seat, but he's now back to being a team owner. So we'll see. Nicotech as a whole had a down year. I mean, you had Dawson Miller, who was by far and away the standout, but really their other three cars really struggled. Simon Nicholls was a championship contender in season 3. He struggled a bit. Well, struggled a lot compared to what happened in season 3. And then you had Raleigh struggled a bit despite 2 wins, and then you had Hunter Sleppy, who actually did alright, to be fair. Hunter Sleppy was the second best Nicotech driver, and the 88 is now the 10, which you see out on track here. But you see come down the line, and he goes to second, so he knocks Yassi out of second, and now is within a tenth of Porkins. So 41.637. So Riley's always been a pretty good qualifier. It's just a matter of race pace is the thing. He's in second at the moment, so nice job by Raleigh. At the moment, the highest of the 3 Nicotech cars. The 3 Nicotech cars, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Tristen Allen, DW Motorsports. What more do you want? what more can you say? Allen is one of 3 drivers in the field, one of 4 in the field to have raced in every season, one of the 3 to have raced in every race. This is going to be his 125th start. So he's been around a long time, Tristen Allen, and he's back with DW Motorsports. And DW Motorsports has won the last 3 teams' championships, but Allen has not really clicked with the team too well, to be completely honest. He only has 3 wins, and I say only because he won 7 races in seasons 1 and 2, 6 of them in season 1, which was ridiculous, including a win here. He won the Coke 0400 back in season 1, but from there hasn't really had the greatest time at DW Motorsports, but he's back and looking to improve this year. And new colours, DJI on that car. It's probably my favourite looking car in the whole field, to be completely honest. It looks great. Really happy with how this one turned out. He's also got Panini on the car as well, which we'll see later on in the season. Here he comes down the line. Trying to beat 41.548. Only 8th for Allen, so 41.725. So he slots in between Watson and Bryce. So that's interesting. So Allen to 8th place in the 14 entry. So looks like there's going to be a little bit of work done on that car to put themselves up here. Jamie Rose, Premier Racing Motorsports, the 2nd rookie driver. We'll see the 3rd one later on. Who will actually be next up, Patrick Fabian. But Jamie Rose, he will be making his debut, of course, as well. Another one of these rookies. And I think after Fabian, I think we're done with the rookies, which is good. But we're getting close to the end. We're now down into our, we're down into the final. This is the. We're down into the final 9, I think, from memory. I think the 40 was 9th in owner points last year with Dominic Anthony, who didn't get a win last year, but was overall more consistent. Now with the change to Dodge in the off-season, hoping to improve on that. Going off into 1 and 2. Time to beat 41.548. To get on the front row, 41.637. And at the moment, Ryan Bejamin in 6th and Kelly Lee in 15th. So Lee's struggled a bit. 41.828 compared to Benjamin, 41.692. So that's interesting. Interesting to see a bit of a difference between those two. So here's the 40 of Jamie Rose. Where does he fit into all of this? Let's see here. Crosses the line. 41.647. So he barely edges out Zikomo Yassi for the highest placed rookie in the field at the moment. So nice job by Rose. He's in 3rd. It won't be a front row start, but that is not a bad effort at all in your first Cup Series entry. And here's his teammate, Patrick Fabian, car number 53. Premier Racing Motorsports. Richie Burrows on the side of this car. Fabian, the last rookie, I think, in the field to be going out. We'll see here. Can he... Well, it'll be interesting to see where he fits. He'll fit into all of this. Premier Racing Motorsports, of course, we talked about them a fair bit in this session. Currently 3rd, 7th and 16th. So let's see here. So Patrick Fabian, car number 53, will start his flying lap. Mentioned multiple times. That time from Porkins, that has been, I mean, considering how early on in the session that is a very good lap to go to the top. And Kian Raleigh at the moment in second has done a nice job to be in second. So let's see where the 53 fits into all this. Down the back, Richie Burrow's entry. Into turns 3 and 4. And now coming off at turn 4. Another one of these guys running the middle lane. Of course, I think the entire field's run the middle lane in this session. Let's see where he goes. Patrick Fabian, Premier Racing Motorsports. Richie Burrow's Dodge drops in. He goes to last. So he is actually slower than Andrews. That's very weird. That is very weird. 38th. 42, 173. So that's well off. It's not even close to his teammates. So that's very weird. That's very weird. Because, I mean, you had... the Tanker Motorsport cars, you had 3 of them in around the same time, all on the 42s. So I'd assume that's just a team that just hasn't quite got up to speed yet. But that's very weird for the 53, considering Rose at the moment is 3rd. Anyways, move on from that. William Brock, car number 1, is back to full-time racing for the first time since Season 1. He was the former owner of William Brock Motorsports, but decided to step down and let Gerrard Alonso take the reins. And he's driving the McDonald's entry here at Daytona. Another one of these guys that's been around for a long time, William Brock, like Benny Watson, but Watson hasn't made nearly as many races as Brock has. He has been part-time since seasons 3 and 4. Did not race in Season 2, but was full-time in Season 1, as mentioned. Has a best finished of 2nd at Darlington in Season 3. So, and this team, they've always been competitive. They've always been a team that's competed for top 5s, top 10s. Looking to do that again this year. At the moment, there are 2 cars. Charlie Davenport, 14th, and Diego Yepez a bit further down the order. We can't really see on the leaderboard, obviously. Here comes William Brock down the line. Where does he fit into all this? 12th, 41.783. So he's ahead of Cody Smart and behind Carter Friesen. So pretty close to Davenport, actually. So looks like they've got to work on their speed a little bit. Here, Joel Motorsports in there. First outing under head Gerrard Alonso. Next car out, Dominic Anthony. Well, we talked about Benny Watson and Eli Bright. They have long losing streaks. This guy, currently, if my memory serves me correct, he's certainly top 5 in longest losing streaks. His last win was Pocono back in Season 3, which was nearly 50 races ago. So, I mean, that just shows how long it's been for Bright and Watson, considering they're 90 and 100-ish races, respectively. So, but this was one of the big things. We didn't really talk about it, but Porkins, Dominic Anthony, and we'll see Henry Guo in a minute, they all moved from Premier Racing Motorsports to Gifford Tredink in the off-season. The very long off-season. So, this Gifford Tredink team, they've really cleaned house. They've got a completely new lineup from last year, and they're hoping that can take them over the top this year and defeat DW Motorsports, who obviously is their main competition this year, along with Nicotech. So we'll see. They only got 3 wins last year, Gifford Tredink. They won a few more back in Season 3, but they've won in every season. They've always been competitive. So let's see how well Dominic Anthony can go. Dominic Anthony, Season 1, Daytona 500 pole sitter. Where does he drop into all of this? 7th, 41.685. So, drops into 7th place. And once again, that lap from Porkins, it looks incredible, doesn't it? It really does. Compared to everyone else that's gone out so far. Because Anthony is nearly 0.137. So, yeah, there you go. Henry Guo, car number 72. Also has a pretty long losing streak, not as long as Anthony's, but season 3 at Indianapolis, 3 career wins. And of course, he's obviously one of the drivers moving in the off season. I think people forget Henry Guo was a competitor in season 3 for the championship. He got wrecked out at Homestead that season, but he competed for the championship, which was won by Cyrus McGee. So, see what he can do here. We're going to go on board with him in a minute. Let's see how he does. Going off the turn 1-2. Looks like we'll take him from the back straight away. Pertec colours this year for the 72 entry. Let's see what kind of time he can put down here in the 72. Into 3 and 4. Let's see where he goes. On the ticker, the time to beat 41.548. Set by teammate Jek Porkins. Down to the line. Where does he fit into all this? He goes to second, 0.009 of a second off of Porkins. So that's the first lap that's really challenged Porkins. So good lap from Guo. He moves onto the front row as it stands, knocks Raleigh off of it. So he's the second driver to get into the 41.5s. So nice work by Guo. Gift for Tredink, 1 and 2. Here is the second DW Motorsport car. We'll see a couple more of them as the last two. Jake Rogers, car number 98. 8 career wins. Plenty of drivers have won 8 career races. Rogers, sorry. Best finish in the 500 was 5th back in season 2. I think he got a top 10 here as well in season 3, and then had a disappointing run last year. Time to beat 41.548. And Guo came really close, so let's see here with Rogers. What kind of time can he put down? His teammate Tristen Allen is currently 11th. So let's see. Champion Power Equipment. We saw Valvoline on the 43 earlier. So a new sponsor this year for Rogers. And let's see how well he goes. How well he goes here. Down the back. And let's see. Jake Rogers. As mentioned before, 8 career wins. The last one was Atlanta last year. He actually won back-to-back races late last year. Finished top 5 in points for the first time. It was his best season as a whole. Where does Jake Rogers fit into all this? Comes to the line. He goes to the top! 41.541.007 of a second. Ahead of Porkins. So Rogers has finally, someone has finally dethroned the 71, and it is Jake Rogers in the DW98. He goes to the top of the board, the quickest time. Well done to Rogers. But now, here comes Alexander Rowe. Rookie of the Year last year for NS Racing, took them to their best Owners' Championship result. He didn't make the chase, but he was the highest non-chaser in the field. Never won a race, Alexander Rowe. Got a best result of 2nd last year at Armory Digital, but has never won in the Cup Series. He's only started in the top 10 once, and that was last year for the 500. So that was because of the dual race, obviously. Other than that, his best start is 11th. So driving the 51 this year, this was the 77 last year of Landon Hicks, who was ultra competitive in that car for a lot of the year. So we'll see here. The time to beat is a 41.541. Get on the front row, 41.548 is the time to beat. So let's see here. Jack Daniels on board this car this year, new sponsorship, DC Solar. We obviously know what happened to them, so obviously kind of pushed Landon Hicks without a ride. So let's see here. Alexander Rowe, car number 51, Jack Daniels Toyota. Where does he fit into all of this? Crosses the line. He goes to the top. 41.539. That's 0.002 of a second. My goodness. It is close. That is That is really close. Rowe has just knocked Rogers off the pole. It's knocked Porkins off the front row after he was on top for so much of the session. It's his teammate Alexander Rowe now on top, and here comes Simon Nicholls. This is the third last car. Third in the championship. The second in the championship in season 3. Looking to repeat of that season, or obviously get one better. His championship rival that year, Cyrus McGee, not in the series anymore. Now driving the number 3, the car that Dawson Miller drove last year, to third in owner points. I think third in the regular points as well. So let's see here. Time to beat 41.539. Time to get on the front rows of 41.541. So let's see what Simon Nicholls can do. Finished 9th here in season 3, crashed out last year. Did not race, did not even attempt the 500 back in season 2. His son Isaac is the team owner. And Gear Wrench, they've been a long-time sponsor of Nicotech and this team. Well, obviously this team, Nicotech, and Simon Nicholls as a whole. Even when he's driving for Cooper Motorsports, they had Gear Wrench on the side of that car. So, let's see here. Simon Nicholls, car number 3. Looking to knock Rowe off the top of the board. 41.539. Where does Simon Nicholls fit into all this? He goes to 5th. So he slots behind Guo ahead of Raleigh. So he is the quickest Nicotech driver, but is about 0.06 of a second off of the pole. So Rowe hangs on for now. We're down to our final 2 drivers. Car number 21. This car driven by Colin Denton this year. 8th last year in the 500, 9th at Kansas. Other than that, had a really, really tough year, Colin Denton, in his first year at Fitzroy Australia Racing. But this was a big move in the off-season. Cyrus McGee retiring and replaced by Colin Denton. It was one of the big moves, and we'll see if it pays off for them. Time to beat to 41.539. Time to get on the front row to knock off Rogers. His teammate is a 41.541. So let's see here. Colin Denton, Coca-Cola, the 21. Well, I don't know if it's more famous than the 27 in the series, but it's certainly one of the 2 most famous numbers, or infamous numbers in the series. Season 1, Cody Smart drove the 21 to 2nd in the championship. Jek Porkins drove the 21 to 2nd in the championship in Season 2. They won the championship with Cyrus McGee in Season 3 and 2nd in the championship last year with Cyrus McGee. So this 21, it's pretty quick. Through 3 and 4. Colin Denton, Coca-Cola Ford. Let's see, where does he fit into all of this? Coca-Cola Ford, does he get onto the front row? No, 21st. 21st, 41.823. That's miles off. Whoa, okay. So Denton, 21st position. Not what I expected whatsoever. But wow. So he's got some work to do for the dual races and the 500. Last car out. The Season 2 Series Champion. The Season 4 Series Champion. Last season's Daytona 500 Champion. The man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Bent. New colours this year, Subway coming on board as primary sponsor. And he is looking, well, he's looking to do it again. He's looking to repeat in the 500. Started 8th in the 500 last year, went on to win it. And he's looking to add a pole to that. Time to beat is a 41.539. Alexander Rowe, as mentioned, never started higher than 9th in his career. He's on the front row for the 500. That is locked in. Now it's just a matter of where Brandon Bent finishes up. At the moment, it's Rowe and Rogers on the front row. Time to beat is a 41.539 for Brandon Bent. Down the back in the Subway Ford. Let's see here. What can he do? Can he knock Alexander Rowe off the pole, or will it be Rogers? Not Rogers. It will be Rowe on the pole. Through 3 and 4. Brandon Bent, the Season 4 Daytona 500 champion, the Season 4 Series champion. Where does Brandon Bent go? Does he go to the top? No, it's 17th! 17th for Brandon Bent, a 41.781. It means that Alexander Rowe for Gifford Trinink is on the pole for the Daytona 500, and Jake Rogers in the 98 will start alongside them. How about that? It is pole position for Alexander Rowe and Gifford Trinink. They will start from the front in the 500, and Jake Rogers will join him on the front row. Brandon Bent 17th. So some work for DW to do. Their car's a bit off the pace. Gifford Trinink 1, 3, and 4, with Porkins and Guo 3rd and 4th. Unbelievable. Unbelievable seeds. My goodness. Brandon Bent will start from 17th. He will start from, 9th in the duel, in Duel 1. He's 17th in the session. So he'll be frustrated with that, but there is our pole sitter. Alexander Rowe, the Samsung pole winner for the Daytona 500 for Gifford Trinink and Toyota. Well done to him. Jake Rogers joins him on the front row. 0.002 of a second. And then Porkins 0.009 back. It was really close. Henry Guo, Simon Nicholls ran out the top 5. Dominic Anthony, the 4th. Gifford Trinink car in 11th. Tristen Allen 14th. Brandon Bent 17th. Some work to be done. Give a call to Jack Hallec in 20th. Colin Denton 22nd. Got some work to do. Logan Williams, the highest go-go homer in 25th. Derek Hamill 26th. You see a few go-go homers here in blue. Fridge in 31st. Natavio 33rd. Stapleton, Wright, Pez, Oran. We've got some work to do in the duel. Xavier, Austin Johnson, David Johnson, Renen Isip, John Andrews, and Patrick Fabian running out the field. They've got some work to do in the duels. Speed Week schedule. Kroger Duels will be on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. The Daytona 500 on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And make sure you join the Discord. The link is in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stuart Graddon, and this has been Daytona 500 pole qualifying. Congratulations to Alexander Rowe, and we will see you guys for the duels. See you then.